Today, we're talking image formats and file types. Now, it may seem like a trivial decision, but the format and type you choose for your images can affect your website performance.
This is Better Radio Websites, the podcast for radio professionals who want to see their website generate more traffic and revenue. Each week, your host, Jim Sherwood, and his special guests give you time-tested tips and secret tricks to ensure your radio station dominates digital in your market. Here we go.
Hi, it's Jim, and welcome to Better Radio Websites, the podcast that wants to help you get more visitors and the most revenue from your radio station website. We're visual by nature. We're visually driven. This podcast would be a whole lot better if I had video. But today we're talking about pictures, and we perceive pictures faster than we do words. Images are just scanned on every page of every website before the text is. And it's very important that you include images on your radio station website. Unfortunately, one of the most proven ways to slow down your website, especially on mobile, is to use images that are not sized and compressed properly for online use. And this resizing and compression, it can vary depending on the file format that you choose. Images on the web, they come in many formats like JPEGs, GIFs, or GIFs. I say GIFs, so I'm going to use GIFs. PNG files, and there are many, many others. So today we're going to give you some basics that will hopefully give you confidence to be able to decide which format is best in every situation. So why do image file formats matter? Well, every graphic that you see online, it's an image file that's on a server somewhere. And depending on the file type, they render in different ways and have different file sizes. Each type is intended for a specific use, and it matters when it comes to appearance, performance, and scalability. Now remember those three words: appearance, performance, and scalability. Appearance means that some image formats include more detail and are of higher quality than others. Performance, some images take less file space. That means that they will load faster. And then scalability. When you stretch or shrink the image too much, its quality might suffer. How much leeway that you have depends on the file format that you use. This affects your site's ability to look good on both large and small screens. Now, the key is to incorporate all three of these and include files on your radio station website that are small in size for fast loading, as performance, and without a loss of quality, appearance, and scalability. Your goal should always be to have a super light website that loads very quickly on any device and looks amazing at the same time. So what are some of these different image file formats? Well, image formats can be divided into two categories: raster images and vector files. Each has its own intended use. Vector graphics use lines, points, and polygons to represent an image. These are best suited for logos, icons. Think of that special logo file that you have to send to a sign company to put on t-shirts or maybe on the side of your van or up on a billboard. It doesn't really matter what size it is, it's going to look crisp and clean. Some vector file formats include SVG, PDF, EPS, and AI. That's Adobe Illustrator. Currently, you need a special plugin of some type to display PDFs like Acrobat, EPS, and AI files online. But SVG files, they will display properly within any browser with very little effort. Unfortunately, not all content management systems support them yet, but there are workarounds that you could put in place to ensure that you can use them. Now, vectors are not the best file format for photos. For photos, you need raster graphics. Raster graphics use pixel values within a rectangular grid to represent the image. Unlike vectors, these file types are resolution dependent and based on their size, meaning that they can't be scaled up without losing quality or becoming pixelated. Surely you've all seen this. If you have an image on your website that looks pixelated or blurry than the image that you saved, it's likely being expanded or contracted beyond that intended dimension that you uploaded it for. For instance, if you have a 300 by 200 image, that's relatively small. But if you wanted to fill up a space that is 800 by 500, that image needs to be stretched out to those dimensions. That's going to make it blurry. This would not be an issue with a vector image, but remember, vectors do not work well for regular photographs. Nearly all of the images that you see online right now are in a raster format, but browsers are starting to be more friendly to some of the vector formats, which is really, really good because vector files are so small compared to the any raster format. Raster file formats include JPEG, PNG, GIF, and WebP. JPEG is one of the most widely used image file formats that you will see on the internet because of its compression and virtually universal browser and operating system support. Just ensure that when you save your JPEGs that they are properly sized for its intended use. If the application, let's say a featured image, calls for an 800 by 500 image, don't upload a 4,000 by 3,000 image. That is super big. That's going to be 10 times or more the file size of that 800 by 500 image and take much longer to download. Oh gosh, especially on a mobile device. Can you even imagine? PNG files now offer better text readability than JPEGs, but we found that PNG files to be 2 to 3 times the file size of JPEGs that are the same dimensions. So if you have that 800 by 500 image in a JPEG, that's going to run around 35, 36K. But an 800 by 500 PNG image is going to run around 80 to 120K. So you see the difference? Now, that may not seem like a lot to you, but if you multiply that by 10 images on your homepage or 20 images on a category list of posts, that is huge. That makes the overall size of your web page that you're loading significantly larger and take it longer to download when you really didn't have to. If you'd have saved it as JPEGs, it would have loaded much quicker. Now, of course, this double the size, triple the size can depend on the image editor you use, the compression settings you use, and the number of colors that you use within your PNG files. Just check the file size and the file type for every image that you save. Online images should rarely surpass 100 kilobytes. Most images should come in below 30. But if you can get it even lower, that's great, as long as they still look crisp and sharp. GIF files are another image file format that's falling in line in that raster format. It contains the image in a limited palette, though, of only 256 colors. The GIF format is most famous for and most widely used for animated images. You've all seen the animated memes and that sort of thing. And the reason that these are more widely used is because the 8-bit limitation keeps file sizes of animations very, very small and internet friendly. Unfortunately, because they can be distracting, they say, more and more modern browsers are not allowing them to automatically be animated. They're putting little play buttons over the animated GIFs, so they look like it's a little video. So consider this before animating something just for the sake to show movement on your pages. In some browsers, that may not be animated at all. It may show a little play button on top of it. Finally, the WebP format, it was recently developed by Google specifically to provide better compression of images. This is the newest and latest and greatest of the raster file types. Switching from JPEG and PNG files to WebP can help save server disk space and significant bandwidth for your users, and 35% smaller image file sizes for identical quality. It's going to look great and be 35% smaller. That's going to load a whole lot faster on your website. And when your website loads very, very fast, users will love coming back. If your website is slow loading, visitors just tend to not come back to those. All right, so that's going to help you out in the long run. Now, unfortunately, saving images to WebP format is not possible in all image editing software yet. So you'll need to convert your JPEG and PNG images to the WebP format using online tools. And there's lots of free ones out there. If you just do a Google search for JPEG to WebP or PNG to WebP, and you'll find all kinds of free converters out there to allow you to make those conversions online. So which file format do you use for daily use? Making updates to the website, or you're making changes to your website, which file format is best? Well, you need to choose the best file format depending on the need and your end goal. Let's start at the top of your website with the station logo. You'll probably have a background in the header that you'll want to show through the logo, so the logo has to be transparent. Well, that rules out JPEG because JPEG images cannot be transparent. All right, that leaves PNG, GIF, and SVG. A GIF file might work for your logo if it has a few colors, but it may not be as sharp as the other options. So I wouldn't use a GIF for your main logo. So that leaves PNG and SVG now. If your content management system allows it, always choose SVG because of the small file size. It will load much quicker. And we're talking fractions of a kilobyte probably, but still, every little bit counts when it comes to the loading time of your website. If it doesn't support SVG and you can't do one of those workarounds that I mentioned, then choose PNG. Most of the websites that I do, the logo is a PNG format that has a transparent background. Even if the background is white, I still choose PNG because the station may want to change that at some point in the future. Now, regular featured image posts that accompany news or blog posts, those should all be JPEG files. For now, do not use WebP images as featured images because in our testing, we found that when folks share your posts to Facebook, that featured image, if it's a WebP, will not appear on Facebook because Facebook, they do not support the WebP format just yet. They support JPEG, PNG, and GIF files. So for regular featured images, for now, leave them as JPEG. Hopefully this will change in the future, and I'm sure it will because they've been playing around with the file format for a long time over at Facebook. So hopefully that will change and you will be able to use those as your featured images. But for now, keep them as JPEG. Banner ads, event images, contest images, that sort of thing, those all fall under JPEG as well. But you can play around with some of those other file formats. If on Mac, the PNG file format is the go-to default export file format. And sometimes I've seen folks on Mac can make PNG files the same size or smaller than JPEGs. I don't know what the difference is that they're using. Maybe like I said, the image editor is different. The compression settings are a little bit different. But if you're on a Windows machine, more than likely you're going to want to stick with JPEG because that's going to be the smallest size. So in conclusion, you have lots of options out there when it comes to types of images that you can use on your website. Pick whichever format enables you to display the highest quality images without slowing down your website. Before you upload every image to your station website, ensure the image that you're uploading is sized specifically for the application. If the website is calling for a 300 by 250 image, be sure that you're uploading a 300 by 250 image. Because if you're uploading something bigger, then you're uploading it for naught. It's just going to be extra size and take the website longer to download. And if it's calling for a 300 by 250 and you upload a 50 by 50, then expect that image to be blown up to that 300 by 250 size and look grainy and very, very bad. So once you have your image sized properly, make sure that it's optimized to its smallest file size without losing quality. That's going to be key. Now, optimizing photos for your website, it's not going to be easy right at first, but take some time, experiment, test a little bit, choose different file formats, pick a specific image, and then play around with the different file sizes. Try to get the very smallest file size you can. You'll actually come up with a workflow that works best for you. And once you get that process down, your website speed is going to improve and your overall user experience is going to go through the roof. And that's really what it's all about. Getting more visitors, having them come back more often, and making more revenue because of that. All right? So hopefully this helps. Be sure to check out the show notes at skyrocketradio.com. Have an awesome week online making your radio station website better. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Better Radio Websites. Inspired by today's episode? Be sure you are subscribed and share this episode with a friend. Visit skyrocketradio.com/podcasts for more episodes as well as show notes for this episode. Need help starting or making your station website better? Visit skyrocketradio.com.